Hi, welcome to Discovery with Derek and Carissa. I'm Derek.
And I'm Carissa, and today we're here with Christie.
I'm Christie. This is Double Flush Stables. This is my home.
So Christie, what brings you here about Double Flush Stables?
So I started this barn because I love horses. Obviously I got plenty of them. I actually moved here from Seattle about 5 years ago, September at the end of the month. Actually, what day is today? Is it the 28th? That's where we start over. But what's today?
The 27th.
Tomorrow I've been here for 5 years. Now I've been here for 5 years from the state of Washington. I moved here with 6 horses. And then I went from barn to barn, didn't find what I was looking for, so I made the barn that I was looking for. One with a family, one with a community, where everybody rides together. We named it Double Flush because not just the facility came from the trash, but so did the horses and myself. It's true. And Ferrari and Gunther. He coming over all hard so he can push everybody off the hay. That's why he's doing the poopy face. Sebastian was the lowest ranking horse in here until he started dating Ferrari, who's the matriarch, so he shot right to the top. Ferrari's the boss. She tells everybody what to do and when and where to go. That's Nora.
So why Florida?
Why Florida? I grew up in California. I love sunshine. And I was traveling in the circus for a number of years after high school. And when I got tired of doing that, I moved to Washington State to be closer to my family. Then I realized that I love my family more when I miss them. So I moved to Florida.
So Christie, why horses?
Well, it's not just horses for me. It's horses, rodents, and birds specifically, but mostly horses. I've got almost 40 of them. I actually moved to the state of Florida with 6, and now I have almost 40, like I said. I love horses, and you love animals too, I heard, and it's just in you. You can't control it. You don't know why or where it came from, because we had a dog growing up, but not a lot of other animals, and I've always wanted a horse. So when I came of age to get one, I went ahead and got all.
So what does it take to have a horse?
It takes a lot of time. People come to me all the time. They want to get into horses. They want to learn how to lease them, how to ride them. They want one for themselves. And I tell people all the time, if you want a horse, go someplace like me or any other horse rescue in your area. You want to volunteer every single day for 365 days in a row. That means if you sprain your ankle, if you've got the hiccups, you got a headache, you get in a car accident, every single day for a full year, including Christmas. If you can do that, you're going to get that in you, that you're going to learn how to be around them safely, how to halter them, tie them, everything that's necessary to be safe around an animal that's this big. But then you're also going to be around the people that can teach you how. And more important than that, as soon as you get a horse, I hope you got $1,000 a month to burn, because especially down here in Florida, that's not cheap, and they eat one of those every single day. So you got to really, really want it. So it's kind of like buying a brand new car, except it's not insurable, and it might run away with you, and it'll probably step on your foot. There we go. He's part of it too.
Like, I was eating, Mom.
They're always eating. Horses are designed to be eating all the time. So if you don't have food in front of your horse all the time, he's going to start habits like cribbing, or damaging his stall, or biting other horses, or other self-destructive things. They've got to eat all the time. Some horses too.
See, that sounds like me as a teenager.
Well, think about their food. Their food's really hard to eat.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort just to eat that.
Yeah. So
then to process it and break it down and turn it into energy, like, that's a lot of effort. Just go ahead. You don't want to be part of this.
So how do you get all these horses?
Most of them come from a pretty sorry background. This one in particular, he was a racehorse and nobody wanted him because he was a coward, so he'd run the wrong way. So just like that, he's out of the job. Most of these other horses, they kind of, I don't want to say they got dumped, I'll say they got donated. They were donated from someone who bit off more than they can chew. Sometimes they can't afford the feed bill. Sometimes there's a death in the family and they can't, like the rest of the remaining family doesn't know how to take care of them. Sometimes it's a medical issue. If you look at this one, she's got chronic, she's pooping. So she's got chronic progressive lymphedema. And basically it has to have compression and exercise and antibiotics every day for the rest of her life. This gray one had a broken leg when I got him. The little Paso there, she's feral. That's why she's on kite string. I have 2 of them. This little skinny one here, I got him from the Davie Police Department. His name's Rufio. Someone abandoned him and left him tied to a fire hydrant over on Sheridan Street not yet a month ago. So they all kind of have different backgrounds. Tahiti came from a slaughterhouse. Sebastian was in barn fire when he was a baby. A good friend of mine rescued him years ago and they never used him, and I just whined enough till they gave him to me. The white one I got at auction from the Indian tribe. The Clydesdale on the end, the brown with the white legs with those two girls right behind him. That was the skinniest living horse I personally had ever taken in. He, because of his developmental neglect, he developed extreme halt. So when he walks like one of those puppets on a string. So they all have their backgrounds, but for the most part, they just hit the wrong hiccup. And when you're a horse, you don't have control over your life. So people who get in a little too deep or, you know, fail medically, there's nothing you could do. There's no resources for a horse. You can't take your horse to the pound when you get deployed. So if you can't find a buyer, then what? If you can't afford feed, then what? There's nowhere to put them.
So Christie, what about medical care?
So these guys see their vet about once a month. He usually comes for wellness exams, but by law, every year they have to come and do what's called a Coggins, which basically you test their blood for bloodborne diseases, specifically equine infectious anemia. It's a reportable disease that basically, if, say, he ended up with it, there's not a lot of options for him. So you have to make sure the animals are clean, especially in the state of Florida with so many mosquitoes, because it is a mosquito-borne illness. But for the most part, it's just wellness. So the Coggins is relatively cheap and has to be done every year. But if somebody gets sick, then the price goes up pretty significantly. Horses are really, really strong physically, but they can't throw up. It's a one-way street. So if they get a bellyache, they get what's known as colic. And basically, their tummy hurts so bad that they stand up and they lay down and they're always kicking themselves. When they do that, there's a lot of room in here. There's a lot of room inside their abdomen, so what can happen is their intestines can twist like a peppermint candy wrapper on both sides, and then that can actually kill the organs. So emergency surgery is necessary. Otherwise, when they start to show signs of colic, you can catch it pretty early, as long as they're not super distressed. Then you just give them a dose of pain management, and within a couple hours, they're fine. Boy.
What's his name?
This is Hayo. Well, thanks. Hayo is a 3-year-old Brahma. They're native to Brazil, and he was actually a birthday present when he was about 90 pounds, which was kind of a long time ago. I ride him. I use him to guide the ride. He's gonna get really close, but he's wearing a helmet, so we're gonna push him away. Most important thing when you're around animals is you can love them all you want, but don't forget what they are. Safety is of highest concern, because if you get hurt, how can you take care of them? So it's really important that you understand what they are, because although he is friendly, he is a bull. So you don't want to forget that that's on his head and that he's capable of throwing that over the fence. Odin's following us now. He's
Hi.
Hi.
He's like, I want to be a star.
My name's Odin, and I'd like to follow you home.
Hi. Okay, you can
There
follow
we
me.
go.
Okay.
So how'd you get into other animals? Well, like I said with the horses, it's just kind of in me. This is Lola. She's an umbrella cockatoo. This is the #1 most rehomed pet in the entire world. Most of these birds are sold around $3,000 to $5,000 if they're hand tamed like she is. But they also are the loudest living thing on earth. The only thing louder than them is whales. They're under the sea, so we don't really hear them. This bird's scream you can hear for her for 8 miles away. You don't believe me? You can ask my neighbors. They do sometimes complain. I have 2 of them. I have Lola. Ooh, I scared you. I have Lola, and I also have Cass. Lola and Cass were both donated to me about 4 years apart. Lola was part of a divorced family that it just having a bird wasn't a burden that they could carry. So they gave her to me, and luckily we hang out really well together. Birds tend to be pretty particular and don't like everybody, but Lola likes everybody. Say, yeah, I do. You want to go over here? Cass, on the other, she don't like Disney is what it is. She don't like that horse. Oh, sorry. Cass, on the other hand, he wasn't handled well. Had gone from home to home a couple of times. Create a lot of aggression, just kind of like with foster kids, that they don't have anything stable to attach to, so then they lash out to see what they can get away with. And a bird's no different, but the trouble is birds have a cigar cutter on their face. Now you can take your finger off. So people end up rehoming them. They don't want to listen to them. They can't interact with them. So they end up spending their life in a cage. So I'm in the process of building aviaries for these guys. She is free flight. She can fly. However, she's got no reason to. So sometimes she'll take off down the barn aisle. That's her little crest. Most of the time she walks, or she'll hold her foot out and someone picks her up out of mercy and she'll drive them. She'll lean until she goes, or until you go where she wants you to take her. She's one of 24 birds on the property.
So Christie, tell us about the other animals.
Well, in addition to horses and birds, I also have a thing for rodents. I have a Patagonian cavy, which I'm sure is in the video. This is Holly. Holly is an African crested porcupine. She's the largest of the 124 species of porcupine you're going to find anywhere in the world. She also has the least amount of quills, which makes her a good pet. She was actually a Christmas gift for me. She's very, very tame. She is not a typical porcupine. She has been completely domesticated. Porcupines have two kinds of quills. They've got their sensory quills, which are these long whisker-like ones. And then they have, I call them a battle quill because I forget what they're called, but they're more like a pencil. This one's broken because I found it in the dirt. But these are the ones that if a lion or an elephant came walking by her, she'd puff up. She could make all these quills go all the way up over her head and turn herself into one giant ball of thorns. And really nothing can get them. Across the planet, all porcupines are protected. You cannot hunt them ever. So in here I've got a bunch of rabbits. Again, people buy Easter bunnies for their kids, realize that rabbits live about 25 years. And then after about 6 months, the novelty wears off. So I end up with rabbits. It's a revolving door. If you ever want a rabbit, you can get them free here. But your kid has to volunteer here for a little while in order to earn the rabbit. It'll come with a cage and everything. Also in here is Muffin. She is my dwarf miniature pony. She is pretty aged. She's also very dirty. We did get a little bit of rain this morning. Turner syndrome is a chromosome deficiency that I'm not a scientist. I can't really explain it. But it's why she has that lovely pumpkin figure. Oh. And then behind her is her husband, Felix. He is a Patagonian cavy. They're native to Argentina and the third largest rodent in the world. They're second to the beaver and the capybara. He often gets confused for a capybara and also confused as a kangaroo. But he is a rodent and not a marsupial, and therefore he's not a kangaroo. In the corner over there, Cheeseburger came out. Cheeseburger's black-tailed prairie dog. They're often sold in the pet trade. But again, if you do not house them correctly, they go a little bit wild and then they don't make good pets because rodents have staplers in their mouth. And he ended up being, I'll say it again, donated to us because he was very cage aggressive. He's not aggressive at all anymore. He just likes digging his holes. His cage goes 3 feet into the ground. And he can dig and do all the prairie dog stuff he ever could want to do. And we feed him every day and hang out with him. And right now, I think he's cutting his fingernails.
Essentially, how's it going to ends meet?
So financially is always kind of difficult, but to help make ends meet, everybody wants to ride. So I've been training horses and animals my whole life. So I taught those big ones that you saw earlier. I taught them how to take you. They believe me enough that they believe you. So we go out on trail rides every single day, early in the morning and later in the afternoon. Typically in Florida, it's too hot to ride in the middle of the day, so we save that to work ourselves and pull weeds and pick up poop and fix all the broken things. Otherwise, we do lessons and we do training, and then I also do boarding, because when you bring in a horse, you can't keep everybody. So what I do is I'll bring them in, I'll train them, and then I'll find them the right person. I'll make that right person perfect for the horse and then send you on your own, and most of these people end up staying here. I got 20 stalls available for rent, and usually I'm completely full. Some people move away out of state, others go away to college, and at that point I would have another stall available. But it's always a battle, just like anybody else. It's money in and money out, and you know, like any other grown-up, on paper you're really, really rich, and in reality you get about $14.
That's a wrap. This is Derek and Carissa for Discovery. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for visiting my farm. It was a pleasure having you guys. Come back anytime. It was nice meeting you. Thank you for coming.